Hi, my name is Sue McKenzie, and I'm joined by Dr. Sarah Reed. And we're going to be sharing with you some tips on how we can take the great work from the compassion resilience field and apply it to our experience right now of the COVID-19 pandemic. And in this video, we're particularly going to be talking about boundaries. Now, we've been setting physical boundaries with each other, right, to keep ourselves safe. We want to talk about some of the social and psychological boundaries that we also need to be setting to be well during this time.
Yeah, and Sue, this is always something I've really struggled with when integrating this into the compassion resilience work. It's really been foundational for me, I think. One of our compassion resilience mentors, so to speak, Brene Brown, reminds us that compassionate people ask for what they need. They say no when they need to, and when they say yes, they mean it. So they're compassionate because their boundaries help keep them out of resentment. And that was so inspiring to me, that recognizing every time I'm saying no, I'm also saying yes to something else. And that slight reframe has made it much more of a palatable type of conversation that I can have with people. Because we often do need to say no, really, to support our yeses.
Yeah, so let's think for a little bit right now, what are some of my yeses? And they've changed a little bit, my focus. So right now, I'm wanting to say yes to connecting, reaching out to certain friends. I also want to say yes to being patient with the family that I live with, because we're together a whole lot. And I want to take care of myself physically, because there's lots of kind of pulls to eat in different ways and move in different ways right now. So those are 3 yeses for me. Yeah. And there's some no's I might need to say in order to support those yeses.
And Sue, we've really learned that our tips to setting compassionate boundaries can help with these conversations. We would first suggest that you know what you want to say yes to in your life. And it sounds like you've identified a number of yeses during this time. And then we would suggest that you're really proactive about stating what it is that you need in order to help meet those goals that you have, or to meet those values that you have. Be really simple and direct when you say so. So if you have someone in your household who's urging you to watch a lot of television right now, and believe me, I've been there, no judgment whatsoever, you might say something along the lines of, I'm really enjoying spending this time with you, really into this show, and I also have these other priorities, such as connecting with my friends. And then we want you to give explanations that are relevant to the person you're speaking with and that offer some kind of solution. So in this case, you may also say, perhaps we can spend 3 hours watching this show tomorrow, or spend time after I connect with my friends doing so. That way you're able to meet both of your needs. Lastly, if there's any sort of boundary violation, reinforce it in the moment and back it up with action. Because if you don't, you really invite people to ignore your needs. So in this case, if somebody keeps pestering you to sit down, put up your feet, have that glass of wine, and indulge in the 8th episode of whatever it is you're binging at that particular time, you might say, hold on a minute. We already talked about this. I would hope that you respect my wishes, and we can come back to watching this at a later time.
Yeah, and what I found is very rarely do people push back on boundaries that are set proactively. Imagine you and I are living together, and I've said to you, Sarah, these are 3 things that are really important to me. And so I'm thinking, as much as I love to sit around and watch TV, and I'm going to put a little limit on myself so that I can be sure that when I go to bed at night, I'm able to say, yeah, I took care of myself, that I was pretty patient with you, and that I connected to some friends that I felt really could use some connection. That it's very likely that you're going to go, yeah, fine, not a problem, versus challenging me. So I think that's one of the nice things about using boundaries as a strategy to support us during this time, is that we get clear about our yes, and we invite the people in our lives to support us to do that. We're much more likely to be able to be the person that we want to be able to say yes to those things in our life that we'd like to. It's a little bit like using the old I statements, right? That just being able to be clear, this is what I'm thinking, I'm feeling, I'm needing, and allowing that person that I'm with to honor those.
Yeah, and with all the changes in our midst, it really gives us an opportunity to practice doing so. We can go through this time in our lives with more enjoyment and authenticity and having those positive connections with one another.
Thanks, Sarah. So that's one more strategy to add to your toolkit when it comes to being compassion resilient during this pandemic. Setting boundaries in order to support your yeses or your goals in life. You'll notice on the screen that there's 3 websites that also offer other resources that you might want to check out. Thanks so much.